You're listening to the best of Flight 1080 on AM 1080, 104.1 FM, KSCO.
These guys, Billy, I'm going to tell you right now, I'm going to tell you this before they get on the air because they're probably too modest to let me finish a sentence like, I think these guys are going to save AM radio. I think that these guys are the ticket to saving AM radio.
I'm glad someone's going to do it.
Yeah, because it damn sure ain't going to be us, Billy.
No,
especially
we tried.
not you,
No,
who doesn't show up
not.
half the time. You're passed out in the gutter.
The reality was last week it was so cold,
man.
And I take the bus to work. I wimped out, Dave. I just wimped out. I did not want to leave. I could not go out, and that was just the way it played out. And I listened to the show though, and it was a good repeat. And you kind of came back on the air, and it was fun. And hey, look, if there's nothing, hey, look, you criticize yourself a little too much. But let me ask you this now. Jack Armstrong will know the answer to this, but when I mention these two words, tell me if you know what it is. Toot sweet.
I don't know what the hell you're talking about, Billy.
Okay. Now, when you get Jack Armstrong on the air, ask him about toot sweet because I love the fact that he's going to know what that is.
How do you know?
Because I know, because I listen to his show.
Okay, so I've got two words for you, Billy.
Yes.
Armstrong and Getty.
Those, I like that.
That is the newest addition to KSCO. We have had great reviews about this, great input, and great response from the audience. Jack Armstrong and Joe Getty are hosts of Armstrong and Getty, and they are joining us live here on Flight 1080. Gentlemen, thank you for joining us.
All right. Hi, guys.
Oh, yo. Happy to do it. Our pleasure.
Yeah, absolutely. It's a pleasure. Thanks for the kind words.
Oh, man, dude, I've been listening to you guys for years, and when I heard that you guys were going to be on KSCO, I was happier than a cat in a mouse factory. I don't know what that means.
Wait a second, but save AM radio? That's a heavy lift.
Well, you guys, I think, honestly, to tell you guys the truth, the reason why I've been listening to you guys for years is because you cover politics, but you don't do it in such a way that people feel divided or left out. It's just it's covered, politics covered in the way people used to do it.
Well, I appreciate hearing that. We absolutely have strong beliefs, but both of us have been musicians throughout our lives and mixed with all sorts of different people, with all sorts of different points of view. And some of the most wonderful people I've ever known and loved are absolutely nuts when it comes to politics. But that doesn't mean I hate them. I just maybe try to nudge them toward what I see as a little more sanity. But we really believe that we're all Americans, and we may have differences. Sometimes it gets heated, but come on, we're in this together.
So,
Joe, I want internment camps for everyone I don't agree with.
Well, we have a lot of callers like that, actually.
Yeah.
So we can relate. I mean, it happens, yeah.
So I was asking my buddy here, Billy, I was thinking, man, dude, I feel nervous. These guys are going to be joining us, and I have no questions. I don't know what to ask you. So Billy suggests...
Hey, I got a question. Can I ask a question?
Yeah,
Can I ask
sure.
a question?
Yeah.
So the verdict in the Murdoch trial is the jury decided in 3 hours. What does that mean? Somebody smarter than me, tell me they already decided in less than 3 hours. Does that mean he's most likely guilty?
That's what it would suggest, yes. But nowadays, with the things working the way they are, I'm not so sure what that means.
Joe, do you know?
I used to think I could predict these things. I've actually been a juror a handful of times. I've been a foreman a couple of times. But I am regularly wrong predicting this stuff because you just don't know what happens in the jury room.
But it probably means unanimity, doesn't it? And there's no way there's unanimity for not guilty.
I would agree. I think that's more likely right than wrong. But, yeah, absolutely. Every verdict has to be unanimous unless you're a hung jury, and that would take days and days and days.
When did this decision come down? When did this announcement?
I haven't found that. It just broke that they're done deliberating. It took 3 hours. I think they walked in the room, said, "Is there anybody here who doesn't think this bastard is guilty?" And there was a no, and they said, "Okay, let's take advantage of this, get the free sandwiches, drag it out over 3 hours."
What is this like? Now, gentlemen, I'm not making this up. In all honesty, I don't know what you guys are talking about. Is there a big case going on?
No.
I'm not.
You're the only guy on earth.
I'm really not following. I try not to watch the news.
Billy just woke up from
I do listen
bushes.
to you gentlemen in the morning occasionally, and but no, Murdoch. I don't know of this. What kind of I don't know about this.
Oh man, it's this. He is the third generation of the most powerful legal guy in a big chunk of South Carolina. Ended up a pill addict, stole millions of dollars from his clients, from his company. A bunch of people have died around his family. Finally, his wife and his son get murdered, and months later they arrest him for the crime. And it's being followed around the world, which is not to say you have to.
I do remember actually a little bit of this story, and I think it was even you gentlemen spoke about this on your show recently, didn't you?
Oh, yeah. We've been talking about it.
I do remember. Yeah, I'm sorry. I just the name you when you said it so flippantly, Murdoch. It just didn't ring a bell. But yeah, it's a fascinating story, no doubt. Yeah. Wow.
Well, if you're going to come to my cocktail parties, you really have to be up on all of it.
Right, Billy.
Jeez. I was just being honest. I mean.
So you guys, you're on from 6 to 9 a.m. I've done a few morning shows, and I tell you, boy, you got to get up early in the morning. What time do you start preparing, and how does your day start? What time do you guys start your show prep and getting there to the studio? How does all that work?
Well, I answered for myself, and I think we both have the same answer. Show prep is your life. It never stops. I never stop thinking in terms of preparing for the show, and it's because it's something I like to do. So I follow the news, just like newspapers, Twitter, whatever, constantly. I do it if I'm on vacation. If I lost my job tomorrow, I'd still be doing it. So it's just a lifestyle, really. It's not really any work.
Yeah, we get up early enough to get in the station and confer and talk to our team. We've got an absolutely wonderful team, and
the entire
they hit
show
us with
is
the audio.
scripted.
Yep. And then we finish the script and count down 3, 2, 1 and read it.
Now,
it's entirely scripted.
You know, you guys, here on Flight 1080, we take phone calls, and I noticed that on your show, you mostly take text messages. Is that because sometimes the callers will throw the show off track? Is there a specific reason for that, Joe?
Well, we took calls for years and years, and we just found, and we're not speaking for everybody, just ourselves, it slowed the pace of the show down, and callers were bad as often as they were good.
Yeah, Dave knows what that's all about. Yeah, he knows what that's like. He does, yeah. He'll get violent on a few occasions with, we don't want to get into that. But
well, hey, if you're not willing to berate a bad caller, you're in the wrong business. That was one of the great pleasures of taking calls, honestly, was yelling at them. But it's partly that there are two of us. There are always two of us, and we both have more to say and talk about than we have time to squeeze in. So,
Yeah.
One really interesting thing about phone calls, I don't know if you've ever heard us talk about this, but we were on TV for like a decade. How long? The radio show was on television for quite a few years. And it was on morning TV, so it was live. And we could tell if it was when somebody called, we could tell within a couple of words whether the caller was someone who watched on television or was listening on the radio, because the TV callers were so stupid.
Trigger warning. You may find this offensive. This may be offensive to you.
They don't even know what the topic is. They're calling to know what time it is, what day is it.
The sort of person that watches morning TV.
Yeah, we've had our fair share of those guys. So, I'm assuming you guys have producers and all that. I would like to hear the names of some of the people that help you put on that show, because you put on a wonderful show, and as a lot of people, well, maybe they don't know that it's not just the hosts. There's a lot of production that goes into it, and there's a team behind this thing that you're listening to, and maybe we could give a shout out to some of the other guys.
Well, you're a classy man. Michael Batchelder is our longtime technical director, who not only keeps us on the air and gets everything to run on time, but plays a lot of the silly sound effects and stuff you might hear and quotes. Our executive producer, Mike Hansen, is brilliant. He makes the trains run on time. He is just never-ending positive energy. And our brand new producer, Katie Green, is an absolutely terrific Bay Area radio vet who's just smart as can be and is a great addition to the team. So we feel really lucky to be working with the people we are right now. They, on the other hand, are miserable and can't wait to move on. But,
of course, yeah.
But luckily, they know their place, so that's very handy.
Oh,
right.
Nice.
Now, Dave, I have to ask if you're not going to ask, but which one of you gentlemen knows that song "Toot Sweet"?
I didn't catch the reference. I mean, I'm familiar with the phrase.
The song "Toot Sweet."
Just ignore him, you guys.
Toot?
Toot.
T-O-O-T, like a train toot?
Yeah, toot, sweet.
And then sweet like a double-room hotel, or like the
candy,
flavor?
Candy, yeah. Toot Sweet.
Is that an old jazz classic? I'm trying to remember.
It is, and I think I've stumped you. See, they would have been great on Billy's Tasty and Tainted Trivia. That is the name, okay, and of course you're going to know this, of Johnny Carson's theme song.
It is?
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
The original name of the song, is Toot Sweet.
Wow, Billy.
Yeah. And you guys use Carson's old theme, which I love. I loved Carson. He was great. Yeah.
Yeah, that's cool. We started, for anybody who doesn't know, we've started every show with that for, I don't know, going on 30 years or something.
Wow. Now I've only been listening to you guys for probably 3 years or so, maybe a little bit less, but what is the history of Armstrong and Getty? How long have you been working together? You said that you were on TV. Can you give me a brief history of the show?
Well, we're both in our late 80s.
You sound fantastic.
We started, believe it or not, we started working together 31 years ago.
Wow.
And got our first job in talk radio in 1998. So that's 25 years now. We bounced around the country a little bit, a series of dead-end jobs where we quit or were thrown out, and ended up on the West Coast in, 96, I guess? And we were in music radio for a while, but we decided we really wanted to be in talk radio, and so we took an enormous cut in pay to start at a talk radio station. And I had a house full of babies at that point, so that was a bit of a leap of faith. But that was in 1998, and our home station in Sacramento, we took from number 45 in the market to number 1. It took a while.
Wow.
That's great.
But it was, it obviously worked out pretty well. Thank goodness.
Now you guys
have y'all done music radio before?
I have not.
No other.
No.
If you haven't done music radio before, it is horrific.
It's horrific? It's Dave's.
Horrific.
I think, honestly, you should guys try to talk Dave out of this because he's thinking about taking a side job as a DJ, and I'm trying to talk him out of it. I say, yeah.
Right, it's either a side job as a DJ or maybe at Taco Bell. I'm trying to figure out which one will pay more.
They're comparable, yes.
Well, the T-Bell is
what's more fun, I guess.
Steadier work. If you're doing it for fun, do it for fun. That's great. But, man, if you're trying to feed your family and the trends in music change and all of a sudden nobody wants to listen to your stinking radio station, that's a bad way to be.
Yeah, that's true.
Jack, how do you think what do you think about where talk radio is going right now? Where do you think we're headed?
Well, spoken word's bigger than it's ever been in my life, with the amount of people that are listening to podcasts and everything. So spoken word definitely has an audience. So I don't know if that's going to end up ultimately being a good thing for AM talk radio because a lot of the sound quality of podcasts is not that great and people listen to it. So that makes me optimistic. I didn't know there were this many people this hungry for spoken word content, but there's obviously a ginormous audience for it.
Do you think, I don't know if you would brand your show as conservative, and I don't know if you want to go there or not, but do you think that conservative radio offers something that is sorely lacking, that people maybe have a thirst for, and when they hear it, a show like yours, it quenches that thirst?
Oh, yeah, 100%. Yeah, absolutely. And especially in blue states. It's funny, I can't tell you how many times I've had the conversation where people say, so you guys must not do very well in California and Oregon and Washington or whatever. And I'm like, are you insane? If you lose an election 55 to 45, that's a landslide. All right, that's a butt whooping. Mm-hmm. But that means 45% of the population feels totally unrepresented. Like nobody agrees with them and nobody feels the way they do. So when they hear a conservative talk radio show of whatever stripe, it's like a friend. It's like, wait a minute, I'm not crazy. These people are reasonably intelligent and think what I think. So, yeah, I think it's a great lifeline for people, especially, drowning in the blue politics of certain West Coast states, which, we may live in or not.
Right.
It's the best of Flight 1080 on AM 1080 KSCO Santa Cruz.